Making Big Shifts, presented by Marketing Reboot, with your host, Josh Anderson.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Making Big Shifts by Marketing Reboot. I'm your host, Josh Anderson, today, where we talk to real entrepreneurs making real big decisions and the real results that followed. Today, I'm super excited to have Karen Strauss with us. She is the author and founder of Hybrid Global Publishing, which helps independent publishing companies with sales and marketing. So welcome to the podcast, Karen.
Thank you, Josh. I love to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So let's dive in. So can you tell us a little bit about your background in Hybrid Global Publishing and what you guys are doing?
Absolutely. Well, first, I have a 40 plus year experience in publishing itself. So I like to say that I have been the part of publishing since the Gutenberg Bible was invented. So I have seen a lot of people and places and technology come and go. And I started Hybrid Global Publishing in 2011 because there was a real need out there. There were people who were self-publishing. There were people who were trying to get traditionally published. A lot of people were not able to get a contract with traditional publishers. Yeah. And so we're kind of right in the middle. We give you the experience of a traditional publisher, but with the speed and higher royalties of a self-publisher.
Okay. Yeah. And as we were talking earlier, obviously you just named the three types of publishing nowadays, right? There's, self, hybrid, and then traditional, of course. What's the pros and cons of both to begin with, like self-publishing versus traditional?
So the pros of a traditional publisher is you don't have to pay for anything. They buy the rights to your book. They put you through, they have an editor, they have all the people that the cover designers, so on and so forth. They have sales reps, they call on bookstores. And so everything is done for you. The negative, however, is they actually buy the rights to your book. So you have to ask permission. If you're an entrepreneur, for instance, and you want to market your book, you have to ask permission to use a certain percentage of your book or to create a course or to in any way, if you're doing a mastermind, that kind of thing. So you always have to ask permission of your publisher to do that. So they own your book for approximately 7 years. And there's by that, and they also take about 18 months to 2 years to actually publish your book.
Yeah.
And if you're an entrepreneur who has that kind of time, but then you're on your fourth book, and your first book is basically irrelevant in terms of your content.
Makes sense. Well, yeah. Then obviously with like self-publishing, you don't have the distribution probably, right? And all the experience behind you too, right? So there's pros and cons there, and you bang that all together right in the middle for best of both worlds, apparently.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Self-publishing is all do it yourself. And in the end, you still have to hire the cover designers, the editors, the distributors, the marketing people, all of that. So in the end, if you don't really know what you're doing, like I would never do my own taxes because that's not what I do. And you would wind up visiting me in jail because I don't know how to do this. So I hire a professional who does this all day long. And I think that's very equivalent to you want to do a book, do it right, and hire people who do this all day long.
Totally. And so you've been in the industry for a while now. And are you seeing more and more people using books for marketing and sales? I mean, I've interviewed at least half a dozen so far that are doing that as well. And it's like becoming a staple.
100% that, particularly if you're a coach or a speaker or an entrepreneur, you need your book as content, right? Mm-hmm. And so this gives you social and visible proof. You're an expert in the field. You know what you're saying. You get on speaking you get speaking gigs much easier because then all you have to do is send your book to the person who's actually booking the event. And they don't have to comb through thousands of social media posts to see if you're legit. So
For sure. It's like, I think one, I can't remember who it was. I think it's Dylan Conroy actually. He said, it seems like a really expensive business card, but it truly is. You hand them your book instead of a business card, and it just tells the whole story of you, right? What is the strongest?
We're talking about hybrid or self?
For hybrid. For hybrid.
So for hybrid, the best books are business books, thought leadership.
Yeah.
Even memoir. Well, we do very well with memoir, self-help, personal development. If you're a coach, you're a perfect candidate to work with hybrid publishers. Again, if you are looking for a book to elevate your business, to create more courses and content in different ways, to alert people, to get more revenue to get
Yeah.
authority, get on speaking stages and get on podcasts like yours. Having a book there's nothing that beats having a book.
Totally. Well, how do people even get started? Like, say, Karen, I have this idea for a book. It's my marketing framework I've been using for a decade. What's the process for that? Like,
So it's actually pretty easy. Once you have a framework, some people come with an outline, some people have no outline. They just come with an idea,
yeah.
right? And so we set them up with a developmental editor. Now, a developmental editor is someone who does not ghostwrite your book. They don't write your book. Most of our authors really want a hand in their voice and writing their book, but they don't know how to put it together. So we set them up with a developmental editor who will work with them for a number of hours, make sure they have a complete outline with a synopsis. So once you have that GPS system, which is the outline, it's much easier then to know where you're going, what each chapter is about, what the points are, and what stories you're going to tell. And so the developmental editor works with the content with you to make sure everything fits, but also keeps you accountable. They're a great accountability partner. And what really stops a lot of people from never finishing their book is life gets in the way. They never really commit. They don't make an appointment with themselves, or they get lost. They finish maybe 3 chapters and then they don't know where they're going from there. So they just give up and they put it in the proverbial drawer.
So they're there to be your guide essentially, and hopefully give you constructive and critical feedback, right? To make the book better, of course, right? So now it's published. My book's published. What do you guys help with after that? Do you guys help with distribution and getting the word out there?
We do. We work with all print on demand, right? We don't have sales reps
Yeah.
that call on bookstores. Having spent many, many years in traditional publishing, bookstores are great and I love bookstores, but they're not really going to further your agenda as an entrepreneur, as a
Mhm.
coach or whatever. So it's nice to be in local bookstores. We can absolutely help you do that. But we focus on getting you out there on speaking stages at conferences where you can actually use your book as a lead magnet,
Mhm.
meaning, or your chapter. We never recommend you give the whole book away. So you create one chapter. You allow then people to download the chapter,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you get their email address and then you follow up with them to make an appointment. And once you have them on a Zoom in a one-on-one, chances are you're gonna get a lot more clients because if they downloaded your book, they were interested in your topic, they heard you speak, right? So it's what we call a warm lead. So chances are you're going to do very, very well and you're going to convert in terms because these are already people that are interested in you. So we help you get on speaking stages and conferences. We help you get on radio shows and podcasts. We have a number of different ways. So you want to do an audiobook. We have a very cool thing where we might help you do an audio of one of your chapters.
Yeah.
And you can use that as a marketing tool wherever. Put that on social media. And so people know you get a taste of a first chapter in audio, which is very cool. And then we have various things. We can work with you on putting you on certain TV channels. Radio podcasts, radio and TV podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, blog tour, whole tour where you get 30 to 50 interviews.
Interesting.
And then we also work with someone who puts you on high viewed apps like CNN and MSNBC.
Mhm.
And so it's an ad that you can actually record yourself, or they would have a narrator for you, but they do everything. They write the copy. And it gives you gravitas right from the get go,
Yeah.
because you're going to be seen at these very high level, seen apps. So you talk to us, all the marketing is very custom. So we'll work with you on an Amazon bestseller campaign or a Barnes& and Noble bestseller campaign, review campaign, getting you reviews. We kind of do it all. Obviously, no one but Jeff Bezos actually has the money to market to everybody. So we make sure not only what the purpose is for writing your book, what your intention is, the market that you serve, that's very, very important, what problem you solve. We talk about this throughout the journey with us. And then we narrow that down and tailor a marketing campaign just for your book that we think is going to be the most effective to reach your ideal reader.
Hey, sorry to interrupt the podcast really quick. If you're getting value from making big shifts, please subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next conversation. All right, appreciate it. And now back to the podcast. Right, that's awesome, right? Yeah, and it's just part of the marketing ecosystem too. It's just one more way to attract and retain followers, and then warm, like you said, the warm lead aspect of it, continue to nurture them, and eventually, potentially they become clients, right? How long do your post publishing campaigns last? Like, are they like 12 months, 18 months, or does it really depend? I guess.
Well, we start 3 months prior to the launch, right? We build you a launch team so
Yeah.
that on the day of publication, we know you're going to have 20 people or so that are going to promote for you on your behalf on publication day if you're doing an Amazon
Yeah.
bestseller campaign, right? So that's all set. Then on launch day, what are you doing? Are you going to do 10 podcasts? Or are you going to do ads? Are you going to do, you know, any kind of, the marketing, the bestseller campaigns, obviously the renewed campaigns. And then after that, the posts can last, I would say some people only do it for 3 more months. Some, I would say, do it at least for 6 months, where we're now shifting from the ebook, which we price at 99 cents at the beginning. So a lot of people will buy it. And then we shift it perhaps to the print book and really get into the focus that the author wants, their ideal reader in a print book.
Interesting. Okay. Do you guys help? And this is probably, I don't know if it's beyond the scope of what you do, but like help them then turn a book into a course, or is that kind of like, is there any strategy that you guys provide there as well?
We don't do that, but
Yeah.
we have partners
Okay.
that we will refer you to who can absolutely take your book and turn it into a course.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course you've been down this road for a while now, and I saw on you like I think you're an author of 6 books. Is that correct? I think I
Right.
saw on yeah. So, um, during your entire process and the journey of doing this, how have you seen the process lay out from a personal perspective? Have you seen like the ROI in terms of like your bandwidth and resources you put into these books come back to you?
100%. Because when I'm an author, again, I get the credibility and
Yeah.
authority immediately. And so people will book me to speak. And I find that speaking and booking conferences, and whether that's people inviting me on summits or someone like you, Josh, who kindly invited me to come on your
Mhm.
podcast, or sometimes I sponsor. So sometimes I know, for instance, that there's a particular person who runs 3-day events twice a year. She gets 5 to 800 people on the Zoom for 3 days. So I know it's a huge audience. And
Yeah.
so I will pay a certain amount of money to book a speaking, certain amount of time speaking on her stage. And
Yes.
so mostly what I do, it's for lead generation,
Yeah.
which means that I have something called Karen's $1 million Rolodex. I've given it away. They download the book. I ask them some leading questions. And then if they qualify, I invite them to a call with me. And my conversion rate has been over 20%. And so if I get 100 people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I normally get 100 people, right? That's 20 new clients from that one thing. My ROI is completely taken care of easily. So it's really a matter of knowing what's worth paying for, and it's trial and error, what's
Mhm.
worth paying for, what's gonna deliver you the audience that you know is gonna respond to you.
Yeah, I think like for some of the listeners probably listening out there, of course, that they're probably weighing in their head whether if they do have a book in them, and most people do, right? Whether they just want to do a self-publishing because it's cheaper to do, or should they pony up, for lack of a better term, the thousands of dollars or whatever it would be to do a hybrid version, right? And that's where the ROI question comes from. I can think of many listeners be like, "Well, I'm never going to make my money back from this," right? So I guess there's a lot of options to weigh around that.
Well, the ROI, I always say it's not how many copies you think you're going to sell. It's how many new clients you think you can get from this book.
Yeah.
So I gave you like one example of people hear me speak, they want to talk to me one on one, and I have a couple of different programs that I can offer them, full-fledged um, publishing program. Then I have a mastermind, and then I have this 2-day retreat, they can come to, whatever. So there are different price points that they can work with me, whatever feels good to them at that point. And so I think that's what makes it successful, that my book is really a gateway to getting my message out. And the way I use that book is to speak everywhere, on summits, on radio shows, podcasts, at conferences in person, wherever I can.
Yeah, it opens the door to all those opportunities, right? So that's
It
amazing.
really does. Yeah.
You mentioned this virtual summit you have going on. You want to tell us about that a little bit?
Yes, please. Thank you. The name of it is called the Big Leap Retreat. I've been doing it for years. It's a 2-day virtual retreat for people who have not yet written their book. And so they're thinking they might have one idea, they might have 10 ideas, and they're not sure. All they know is they want to write that book within a year, and they're pretty committed to getting it done. So we help them create their outline. We have our editorial director with us, the synopsis for the outline, the chapters. So they've got the chapters, they've got the talking points throughout for the chapters they're doing, and where they're going to add stories. So again, like I mentioned before, that's their GPS system, and it makes it much more clear. And then what's really fun is that we help them create a 2-minute pitch for the book they just made up.
Yeah.
And so we throw them into the fire on the first night, and we create this 2-minute pitch. And I have a panel of people, and they actually present their 2-minute pitch to these panel of people who are literary agents and publishers and speaking coaches.
Yeah.
They're very high level mastermind, people. So they've heard these pitches, publicists, they've heard these pitches, and they give you really, really good feedback. And there'll be public feedback, which is a little more gentle. What was really worked, what you can improve on. And then they write private feedback just for you. Right. And there have been a lot of connections that have been made through these speakers and the panelists and then the presenters. Some people have gotten traditional book publishing contracts from them because the idea is so good.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. And then we have speakers that are giving you the aspirational ideas of what it's like, what can you do once you have your book finished, right? And then I invite them to come work with me in some capacity.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I think you just hit the nail on the head there for a second as well. Like, yeah, the journey in publishing the book's amazing, right? But it's what to do after. That's where you're going to see the ROI, and like that's where everything's going to come together, right? So, okay, where can listeners find information about the Big Leap Retreat?
So it's January 14th, 15th, and it's hybridglobalpublishing.com/retreat.
All right. So piece of advice you have for those that are on the edge of thinking they should write a book or not? Is it just make the leap, or what is your advice?
Yeah. My advice is get comfortable with the uncomfortable. If this is something that has been gnawing at you and it's in your brain and it won't stop, you need to satisfy that. And so obviously you have something to say. And don't be ruled by fear. My father always said that, and if you're ruled by fear, you're taking up a lot of energy. Just write something every day. Keep your writing muscle going. Love for you to attend. The 2-day Big Leap Retreat is a perfect way for you to attend. And then after the 2 days, you can see if writing is really where you want to go, or maybe you want to put your attention elsewhere. So that would be my recommendation.
Love it. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast and giving us that great advice.
Thank you, Josh. Really appreciate that.
For sure. And it's time to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for listening to Marketing Reboot, Making Big Shifts. I'm your host, Josh Anderson. We'll talk to you next time. Hey, guys, thanks so much for listening to Making Big Shifts by Marketing Reboot. It would be a huge help to us if you subscribe to the channel and share this with somebody that you think needs it. Your support helps us continue to bring great guests on board and keep the conversation going. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Making Big Shifts. Like, share, and follow for more. Join us next time on Making Big Shifts, presented by Marketing Reboot,